Design your 2026. Hello, I'm Viv, the life strategist, helping busy, driven people go from chaos to clarity so you can enjoy life more. Because the clearer you feel, the freer you feel. And wouldn't it be nice to live your life by design instead of reacting, instead of being lost in a confusing cloud of chaos of like to-dos and like feeling like you need to do a million things but not really knowing what the next thing you need to do is, but then just doing something like you're kind of firefighting all the time. I don't know if you live like that, but I used to live like that. And I know that sometimes we can feel like we have to live like that, and because you're just too busy to like take the time to design your life, and also you don't even maybe know how. And also you might not know that the grass is greener on the other side, meaning if you learn how to plan properly and execute effectively, and actually be executing in the areas that you really need to, then life can really flow a lot more beautifully. Now, it's never perfect. It's always an interesting, bumpy ride, but you can learn to really enjoy the bumps. And so today, we're actually going to spend a little bit more time. Well, actually, we're going to spend a very small amount of time, because what I'm going to do is I'm going to truncate my one-day mastermind, my vision planning mastermind that I do, into just like 10 or 15 minutes for you. So let's get started. So a lot of people, when they're thinking about how to design what they want, so design your 2026, design your life, what do you want, right? They try to think of, how am I going to do this? How am I going to do this? How am I going to do this? What is the strategy? I know I said I'm a life strategist, the life strategist, but it's not about strategy. Strategy comes later, because if you start with the how, if you start with the strategy, there's many, many beautiful strategies out there, you will not likely execute. And even worse, you may get overwhelmed trying to imagine the how. So what you really need to connect with is the what, the deep desire, the why, the what and the why of what you really want, right? So this can seem straightforward, or it could seem daunting, depending on where you are. And give yourself a bit of grace, because it can take time sometimes, and it can take sometimes a few times, a few tries, a few goes at this exercise or similar exercises to really unravel what you really want and to really connect with it, something deeper, right? And that's what I'm all about, because once you have that master vision, once you're crystal effing clear on what it is you really want and why you want it, and you will just do anything to get it, nothing will stop you, and the hows will just be so easy. They'll be so easy. And even when they're hard work, it won't be that hard, because you'll be so focused on what it is you really want, and you will be loving it and needing it and wanting it, and it will be fulfilling, growing and reaching and striving in that direction when you're really clear about what. And so that's the key. Start with desire, not strategy. Start with the what and the why, not the how. Okay, that's the first principle for today. And it's the principle. And so what we're going to do is just a little exercise. So those of you that are in my Thrive Forest, Thrive Mastery community, you not only will have a copy of this recording, but you will also, or rather this replay, you will also have this exercise in writing. And if you want a copy of that, just message me and I'll make that available to you, okay? Because no one should be left behind. So, as I said, I do this in my one-day mastermind workshop, my vision planning workshop, but I also do this with my clients one-on-one, and it can take like even 3 or 4 months, what we're going to do in 15 minutes. So we can just do it in 15 minutes. You don't have to do this one-day thing, this 3-month thing. No. But the more time you spend in it, and the more time you go back to it, and the more times you rework it, the clearer you get, the better it gets, and the more results it will drive in your life. Results that you want, not the same results that maybe you've had. Excuse me. Okay, so we're going to start with thinking about what you want in life. Kind of like, let's get out of ourselves and kind of open to a bigger picture. You know, think about your whole life, the end of your life. You know, and then kind of like zoom. We're going to start to zoom back, right? To like, okay, well, maybe that's too far ahead, hopefully. And then what do you want in like 10 years, right? So what do you want in like 10 years? Thinking about who you might like to become, how you might like to be remembered, what legacy you might want to leave this earth and your loved ones with, right? And you can do this kind of free form, you know, you can kind of jot down things. You can, you know, you don't necessarily need the handout paper. You can just get a piece of paper and brainstorm on values that you want to embody and embrace and demonstrate, that you will be remembered for once you're gone, that you want to pass on to your kids, that you want to be known for, remembered for. And if you want any kind of like achievements, you can kind of tack those things on there too. Maybe there's some specific goals or things that you want to really achieve in life. Maybe you have a very special specified plan of something you want to do, or a passion you want to explore and you want to have realized and fulfilled. So, you know, take this time, take a few minutes, and just like kind of like brainstorm. Okay, do it now. Get that paper. I'm only going to give you a few seconds. I'm not going to give you a few minutes. But, you know, just write a few things. You can fill it out later, but just, okay, make a little note of what that is. Okay, and now kind of zooming back to 10 years, right? So where do you think you need to be in 10 years? And don't focus on the strategy of like how, like what am I going to have to do specifically to get there. No. Focus on the bigger vision. This is a bigger vision of like, what will my life look like in 10 years if I've executed everything masterfully, right? What would I love it to look like? What would I love myself to look like? Not just physically on the outside, but that too. Health-wise, that too. Energy, that too. But relationships, inner beauty, knowledge, growth, skills, resourcefulness, right? So think about, okay, how do I want to look? How do I want to be? Who do I want to be? And what do I want to have in my life? What relationships? What achievements? What kind of business or career? What kind of community do I want to be surrounded by? Where do I want to be in my spiritual life, right? So make a note, write that down. You can fill it out more later. And then let's zoom out again, right? 5 years. What do you want to do in 5 years, right? Like, if for that 10 year to be true, what do you need to be true in 5 years about you and your life, about where you are, right? So think about, we talk about the 5 domains in life, so think about those domains, spiritually, familially, physically, socially, financially, right? In 5 years, what needs to be true? What would you love to be true? Write that down. Okay. And now, zoom further out and take a note. If you want that 5-year to be true, what do you need to do this next year, 2026? At the end of 2026, where do you need to be? Who do you need to be? What do you need to have achieved or accomplished or learned? How do you need to have grown? Right? So write that down. I'm like typing here and I'm writing. I'm really confused what I'm doing. Do both. Okay. So now, since we're in December and it's going to be a fresh start, having done that quick little exercise, and maybe I didn't give you a lot of time, so maybe you didn't write very much, but maybe you thought just a little bit. And if not, take time afterwards to go and do this. But after having done this exercise, go and identify your top 3 priorities for 2026. Pick just 3. Just 3. Because think about it. If you can only do 3, which 3 would it be? Right? Because less is often more, right? And sometimes we could easily put 15 things that we would love to do, right? And it can be hard to accomplish all those 15 things. I'm not telling you not to, but start with 3. If you get those, think about how happy you'll be if you just get those, right? Or even if you just get 1. So put to your top 3, and then think about the one that is most emotionally resonant for you right now, most emotionally awakening, that matters most to you right now. And write it down, circle it, right? And I'd like you to consider focusing on that for January, okay? Dedicate that month to making that happen, right? So you've thought about the result, the outcome that you want, right? The what. Make sure you write down the why. Why do you want it? Because that's the driving force. That's everything, right? Don't worry about the how. You can start to do the hows later. I have a whole Thrive Mastery planning system that helps you organize hows, right? But you don't need my system. You really just need, well, if you want my system, you can contact me, but if you really just need to know what it is you want and why it is you want it, to get that clarity, okay? Because if the why is the driving force, and if you plug in deep enough, get a powerful enough why, and I teach in a separate exercise on how to go really, really deep on that why, to get that base, like, man, I would die for this. I would kill for this, but I won't because it's illegal and it's morally wrong. But something that's like that, right? That is just so important to you, right? That's when you've really hit it. That's when you've really hit it, okay? So try to really go deep on this why. And if you can't, maybe you've got the wrong what, okay? And how do you go deep? Just keep asking yourself, why is that important? And why is that important to me? And why is that important to me? Okay? And go deep, because that is going to be your innate inner driving force that will make the hows manifest. Okay? You will start to develop an action plan. You will write that plan. You will track your progress. Okay? And the most important thing is having that, being connected to that why, having that, the what and the why written, because life doesn't always work out the way you plan, right? So you can write down this perfect plan. You can get a very nice plan from someone like me or someone else, help you build a plan or a strategy, right? And then guess what? It might not work out that way, because no one can predict the future, and there's tons of circumstances that get involved. So should we never try? No, all right? There are people that are successful and that are happy and that really do lead an exemplary lifestyle. Not many, but there are. And if you want to be one of those, you need to keep going for it. And how do you do that? You connect with what you want and why you want it, that deep drive, right? So that when the plan doesn't work out the way that you wanted it to, you just course correct. You just slightly adjust. And sometimes it's not going to like totally fail. It'll be working or kind of working, or as you're doing it, you'll be like, oh, I could add this, it'll be even better. And oh, if I do that, it'll be even more awesome, right? Or like, oh, that thing I thought would be awesome is not working, but I could try that, right? That's only going to come alive and be alive if you're giving yourself grace and you're connected to your internal drive. Okay? So, I hope that you've done this little exercise with me today, and if not, that you will do it later. And if you want some more clarity and some more specific steps for 2026, then I have created the From Clarity to Chaos mini reset workbook, pre-New Year workbook. And if you would like that, just message me or put clarity in the comments, and I'll send that your way. And if you are in my community, my Thrive Force community, then that will already be available to you. So you can just download it. And if you don't have it, I will give it to you for free. Just DM me, okay? It's not a big secret. I want everybody to have this, to have the clarity that they need for next year, okay? So, yeah. Oh, that's my little timer. It means we have to end. All right. Take care, and take care of yourself, okay? Remember, you deserve to wake up with passion, to live with purpose, and to sleep with peace, okay? So go and do what you need to do to get it, okay? Good. See you in the next one. If you like this, if you're watching it on social media, please love it with a heart, and subscribe, share, follow, all that good stuff. And if you're in the community, please let me know what you think. I love to hear from you.